Hello and welcome in to Locked On Capitals. I am your host, Dan Homey. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for making Locked On your first listen or view every day. This podcast is available on all the major platforms, so when you're using your podcatcher of choice, make sure and hit that follow or subscribe button. That way you will know when the new podcasts are available. We are also on YouTube, so make sure and hit that little bell in the corner for subscribe. That way you will know when the new videos are available. So yes, we got you covered on Locked On. We got you on video and audio. So wherever you're at, you can listen and watch Locked On Capitals. So in this episode, in this first segment, we're going to talk about the game. We're going to recap the game, what went right and what went wrong. To be honest, there wasn't a whole lot that went wrong. I mean, they won 4-0. What could go wrong, right? And then in the second segment, we are going to talk about the injuries that the Capitals are facing and what that means to this team. And then in the final segment, we are going to talk about the Stadium Series. Yes, it was just announced today that the Washington Capitals will be facing the Carolina Hurricanes in a Stadium Series. So that is exciting. But to the game tonight, wow, what a game by the Washington Capitals, and just what a big morale booster for them. I think that the Capitals were a bit downtrodden as of late, but to go and play at home where the Capitals have struggled all season and to beat a team that's in first place of the Metro Division, I don't think that you could ask for much more than that. And it was a game that saw goals from, Alex Ovechkin, Evgeny Kuznetsov, Martin Feravari, and Dmitry Orlov. So not only the forwards, but the defense getting involved there. And it was just a real fun game to watch. I mean, the whole time I was thinking to myself, and maybe it's a bit pessimistic, when is this going to go wrong? When are they going to falter? But to be honest with you, there was a certain sense of confidence because Vitek Vanecek was in net. The last couple games when Ilya Samsonov was in net, I'm like, I want to put a positive spin on this. I think the Capitals are going to do okay. But then ultimately the first goal would go in and you're like, it's useless. Ilya Samsonov is falling apart just like he always does. So it was just a good feeling to have Vitek Vanecek out there and play really well. And I think that this, I know it's one game and I don't want to jump the gun, but I think that this has solidified his spot as the number one netminder for the Washington Capitals. What do you guys think? Hit me up on Twitter, DanCaps218. What do you think? Do you think the Caps should just stand pat with where they're at? Or do you think that they need an upgrade? I know that they need a number one and number two, but they have Zach Fucale that was backing up, and from a sample size from him, and I know it's just a bite-size sample of Zach Fucale, I think that he would stand to be a good backup, and it seems to be. It kind of follows within line of what Brian McClellan wants. He doesn't want to make any big moves like they've done in years past, where they picked up Kevin Shattenkirk and other players like that. Mantha last year. Mantha, who they still have and has, he played well tonight too. So it was, so Mantha ended up working out for the Capitals. I mean, because he signed an extension to that deal. So I bet, that's a little bit different than most times. But with Kevin Shattenkirk out there, he played for the Capitals for just a few months, and they gave up quite a bit to have him. So the Capitals don't want to go down that road, and that's what Brian McClellan said is, this team, other than tonight, hadn't played that well. And he doesn't want to just give up all these draft picks and futures for a team that probably isn't going to go too far in the playoffs. But I got to say that if the Capitals continue winning, that may sway his opinion. And Brian McClellan is not really a guy to show you his cards. He normally holds them close to his chest, so he's not going to tell you what he's going to be doing. I know that the Capitals are pursuing Marc-Andre Fleury, but from what I hear in the news, that they've kind of rebuffed him a couple times. So I would be surprised if that in fact happens. I would be surprised if that happens, if they get Marc-Andre Fleury. Another goaltender that I've heard they've gone after is Braden Holtby, and I think that the Caps fans would love nothing more than to have Braden Holtby come back to the district, but I'm not going to, put my eggs in that basket and say that's what's going to happen. Honestly, they might just ride out the season with Vitek Vanecek as the number one, and then it's going to be a battle. Who's going to be that number one netminder? I mean, I think that they're going to have to give Zach Fucale some time to know what they have in net in him. But like I say, in a sample size, I think that he has played pretty well. And, there's parts of his game that kind of remind me of Braden Holtby. I remember when Braden Holtby first got his first start, he was just a guy that got called up because I think it was Thomas Vokoun was injured, if memory serves. And just right away when he came out, it's always kind of exciting when you see a new player come out because you see the same guys all the time. And especially a netminder, they're kind of like the quarterback of the team. A lot, is reliant on their shoulders. The rise and fall of a team can rise or it can be on the netminder's shoulders. So when I saw Braden Holtby out there, I had a sense of, calm, and he was just a real aggressive goaltender. And I see a little bit of that in Zach Fucale. So, maybe they don't need to make any moves. I think one of the last thing the Washington Capitals want to do is they don't want to give up a bunch of players for someone that's not as good as what they have in house. I mean, I know Ilya Samsonov is not playing that great, but they got to look at what's out there, and what's out there, is it any better than what they currently have? These are all things that the Caps ownership and GM are going to have to consider. Vitek Vanecek stopped all 36 shots faced, marking his third shutout of the season and fifth of his career. Vanecek's 36 saves are the most he's made in a shutout in his career. Vanecek has recorded a .946 save percentage and a 1.55 goal against average over his last 9 games, dating back to January 15th, a span that includes 3 shutouts. I mean, what can I say about Vitek Vanecek? I mean, like I say, everyone wanted to say, well, it's not Ilya Samsonov's fault. It's the defense that's collapsing in front of him. And, I got to say, to an extent, that's true. But it's the same defense that played out there tonight as it was playing when Ilya Samsonov was out there. How come they were able to get a shutout tonight? And against a team, they weren't playing a poor team. They were playing the number 1 team in the Metropolitan Division, a team that has a ton of firepower from the floor to the rafters. And Vanecek stood on his head and made some really great saves. And that's what it's all about. So I think that the future of Ilya Samsonov is in question, especially if Zach Fucale can rise to the challenge. I guess a lot remains to be seen how he is going to play, and it'll be just interesting to see what they have in net in him. All right, in this next segment, we are going to talk about the injuries that the Capitals have and what that means for the Washington Capitals. Are they going to have to go out and try to pick up some players that they to fill the void with the Capitals? We'll talk about that next. Are you guys looking for a healthy snack? I know I am. Out there's a lot of junk food that can tempt you, but Built Bars are really delicious. This is the time of year that I've pretty much given up on all my New Year's resolutions, but not this year. I'm sticking to my New Year's resolution to eat right, thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because I actually enjoy eating them. Have you tried their puffs? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the most protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Puffs are a fan favorite with some incredible flavors: yummy cinnamony churro, coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie. So good. These are going to be one of your favorites. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Yes, puffs included. 100% real chocolate. They're low calorie, high protein. So replace your candy bars with these. They are better. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. Ouch. So buy a Built Bar and just eat better. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 at Built.com. Thank you, Built. So in this segment, we are going to talk about the injuries that the Capitals are facing. And there's quite a few of them out there. And how are they going to handle missing some really big-name players out there? So the injuries that the Capitals are facing as we speak right now is Carl Hagelin. Carl Hagelin is on that line with Hathaway and Dowd. And he's provided a lot of scoring touch with that line, and they're going to miss Carl Hagelin. So who are they going to have to plug that hole? Hagelin will be out long term, according to Tarek El-Bashir of The Athletic. It was kind of just a fluky accident. If you saw the video of it online, it looks like a stick just caught him up high. And they were talking about that. It's not just so much, on what he's going to do playing hockey, but what he's going to do in his day-to-day life. Eye injuries of that nature can be severe, and we hope nothing but the best for Carl Hagelin. But, I mean, your eyes are nothing that you want to mess around with. And, it's just unfortunate that it happened at all, period. But then to have it just happen at practice, it's just kind of one of those fluky things. And then Ilya Samsonov left practice early because of an injury that he sustained. And, what they say is it's a next man up mentality. In all of sports, it's next man up. So if you fall down in one area, next man up, you're going to have to fill that gap. And in this case, it's going to be Zach Fucale. He's going to be the one that's filling in for Ilya Samsonov. This is his time to shine. And I've kind of banged the drum for Zach Fucale for quite some time just because of that inconsistency with Ilya Samsonov. It's really kind of hard to be confident in him. I know he's had games here or there where he's played really well, but overall, Ilya Samsonov has not been as advertised, and I don't think you can really debate that. I just think that to a certain extent, the Capitals said that, he is our number one netminder, and that's why Zach Fucale went back down to the Hershey Bears, because he's not our number one starter, but why can he be? If you have that talent in-house, you may as well utilize it. And I think that Zach Fucale is doing a great job. His last game that he played with the Bears, played a really great game. But some of these players, they're going to be a little bit harder to replace. Like I say, Joe Snively. Snively is week to week, according to Tarek El-Bashir. And Snively is one of those guys that, that was another next man up. They didn't plan on having Joe Snively in there, but it was based out of necessity. Injuries and COVID that were going on during the year. And that's why you have to have depth. And I think that that's primarily why the Capitals don't want to give up any of these draft picks for these rentals. Because ultimately, that's what it would end up being, is a rental. And with rentals, I mean, you're going to get them for that year. Like, I keep going back to Shattenkirk, but he's the biggest one that pops out to me because everyone was so charged up that we got him. And he didn't really do anything for the Capitals. They ended up, I didn't think that year they even made it that far in the playoffs. I want to say it's 2017 or 2016. Man, how the time has flown. But, so, I mean, that's one of the pitfalls that the Capitals don't want to get into, is just, signing these rentals because you're not playing that well. I think that if the Capitals can go ahead and play well in this coming stretch, I think maybe they will sign a goaltender, someone to solidify that position. But I think at least you have to give Zach Fucale a shot. I mean, how else are you going to know? All right, and in this next segment, we are going to talk about the Stadium Series. Yes, the Stadium Series. It was just announced today. The Capitals have quite a history of Stadium Series. I remember that they played the Penguins. Oh, in this next segment, we're going to talk about the Stadium Series. It was just announced today that the Washington Capitals are going to be playing the Carolina Hurricanes in a Stadium Series. Those are always exciting. The Capitals have quite a history playing in Stadium Series, so it's going to be exciting. And we will talk about that after the break. All right, football might be over this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. From all the latest odds, totals, player performance, props to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline.net is the number one spot for all your sporting betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds, right to Olympic coverage and information. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. So in this final segment, that is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Stadium Series that was just announced today. The National Hockey League today announced additional details for the 2023 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. The NHL announced last month that the Carolina Hurricanes would host the outdoor game at NC State's Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh, North Carolina. The NHL announced today that the Washington Capitals will be the Hurricanes' opponent, as well as the date of the regular season outdoor game, which is scheduled to take place on Saturday, February 18th, 2023. So that's exciting, just to be playing outside. Like I say, the Capitals have quite a history of playing outside, and if memory serves, they played pretty well. We are pleased to be selected to participate in our fourth outdoor game next season versus the Carolina Hurricanes in 2023. Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series, said Capitals President Dick Patrick, having previously participated in the 28th Stadium Series in Annapolis, Maryland. We know the amazing atmosphere the event provides and are excited to perform on the national stage in such a marquee event. We look forward to working with the league and Carolina Hurricanes to offer hockey fans an incredible outdoor experience next February. So, I mean, that's a ways away, but I think that if you're in the area, that would be a fun game to go to. You get to go outside and watch a game. There's always so much more energy at those outdoor games. Ticket information will be made available at a later date. 2022-23 Washington Capitals season ticket members will have the first opportunity to purchase tickets. All other fans are encouraged to visit washcaps.com/stadium series to sign up for additional details on ticket information when it comes available. 2023 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series will be the first regular season outdoor game for the Hurricanes. Will become the 28th NHL team to participate in a regular season outdoor game. It will be the fourth regular season outdoor game for the Capitals, who are 3-0-0. I like those odds, don't you? In their previous appearances, a 3-1 win against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and in the 2011 NHL Winter Classic at Heinz Field, a 3-2 win over the Chicago Blackhawks at Nationals Park in 2015. NHL Winter Classic, a 5-2 victory versus the Toronto Maple Leafs at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis, Maryland. In 2018 Stadium Series, a complete history of NHL regular season outdoor games can be. So heading into tonight's game, Washington, D.C., the Capitals and Hurricane franchises have faced off in 179 games during the regular season, with Washington holding a 71-point edge over Carolina. So, I mean, that's going to be one of those things to mark on your calendar. And, I mean, I think that's something to look forward to. I mean, I think that, with the way COVID has been in this past couple of years and everything, just getting an excuse to go outside is kind of exciting, to be honest with you. So that's something to look forward to. And if you are a Capitals season ticket holder, I mean, that just makes it all that much better for you, doesn't it? So taking a look at the schedule, just a great win for the Capitals tonight. What else can you say about that? I was so worried going into that game tonight if they were going to win. I had that feeling that they were going to win. Just a feeling. Like I said earlier, when Vitek Vanecek was in the game, I'm like, you know what? Things might be all right tonight. They might be okay. I never envisioned a 4-0 shutout against the Metro leading Carolina Hurricanes. And it sounds funny to even say that because for years, Carolina didn't have much of a team. I know they had that Stanley Cup in there, but that seemed like kind of a fluke thing because after that, I mean, they haven't had much of a team out there. But this year, with Brindamore as the head coach, they really have that team tuned in. So it was just a bit surprising out there, and it was just a good feeling out there, too, to see Alex Ovechkin get that goal. He's had so much stress on his shoulders with what's going on the national stage. It was just really good to see him get a goal and to get the support from the fans because I think to a certain extent he's kind of feels like he's out there all alone. Him and Dmitry Orlov, Evgeny Kuznetsov, Ilya Samsonov. All these are Russians in American country that is having a hard time dealing with Russian issues, and they're lashing out at those players. And I had heard reports, actually, that there is fear for their safety. And, I mean, that's not what it's all about. Did Alex Ovechkin, did he do anything? Did he cause any of this? No. So I just think that, everyone just needs to get a level head out there and assess the situation. And just let's concentrate on hockey and a really great game that they played tonight because the Capitals have to be ready for the Kraken this weekend. It's good that they picked up a win, but one win isn't going to catapult you, out of the condition that you're in. It's one of those things where you can listen to it or think back on it today and think, that was a good game. But then it's on to the next one. It's on to the next practice, and how are they going to beat the Kraken? The Kraken, who are not that great this year, but that's one of the things you don't want to fall into either. The Kraken are 17-34-5. So, you just can't go into that with a mindset that, they're going to be horrible and we're going to win, because to a certain extent, I think that is what happened with the Hurricanes today. I think that they thought, this is a Capitals team that is not playing well. There's no reason why we shouldn't beat them. But the Kraken have a record of 17-34, and they do sit in last place in the Pacific Division, but a lot of times those teams, they're playing for jobs, or those players, are playing for jobs. So, you just got to be ready for playing a team like that, because if you end up sitting back on your heels, you're going to end up losing, because the road ahead for the Capitals is going to be a bit rough. After that is the Calgary Flames. Guess what? In first place, they have a record of 32-14-6, and that is a team that is somewhat similar to this Hurricanes team that they played tonight. A lot of firepower, and that's another formidable opponent. So this is going to be a good test for this Capitals team. Maybe put Vitek Vanecek back out there again and see what they have in tank with him. The next game is March 8th. The Flames game is March 8th. So, and then after that on March 9th, they play the Oilers. The Oilers are another good team. Their record is 30-21-3. And that's a team that's kind of turned it around a little bit too. They had, some kind of shaky parts earlier in the season, but they seem to have turned it around. And then the next one is March 11th, where they play the Canucks. That is Bruce Boudreau's Canucks team. So, there is going to be some tough games in there. They could be sprinkled in with some easier games, but you can't be sitting back on your heels. That's when you're going to get in trouble. That's those trap games that I'm talking about. So let's just all be happy, Caps Nation, that the Caps picked up a really big win, and they did tonight. I'm going to go to bed tonight right now. I'm recording this at 10:19 Central Time, and I'm going to feel pretty good about that. A 4-0 shutout. If you listened to sports radio earlier today, it was nothing but doom and gloom. I listened to a podcast earlier, Caps This Morning, and it wasn't really doom and gloom. They were kind of paying homage to the Capitals and how well they played with this current lineup, but that ultimately we need to brace ourselves for a rebuild. And, I can't argue with that. That is looming. I don't know when that's going to be, but the Capitals fans need to realize that it's coming. Ovechkin and Backstrom, Oshie and Karlsson, they're not getting any younger. That's why they need to restock the tank in Hershey in the Stingrays, because what's going to happen is kind of what happened with the Rangers, is that you're going to come up on it where you keep going, or the Red Wings is another example where they were kind of perennial winners for years. And then guess what? They started losing some of those players, and some of those players retired, and then they sucked for years. And it seems like the Red Wings are kind of ratcheting it up now, but for many years they kind of toiled in no man's land. So that's what the Capitals don't need to get into. They don't want to get involved in this big laborious rebuild, and it doesn't have to be. If you want to take a look at the New York Rangers, they went through a huge rebuild, and I think they're only bad for maybe like a year and a half, and they're near the top of the Metropolitan Division. So if we can use the Rangers as a blueprint, we got to use them going forward. We got to put faith in these younger guys. We got to put faith in Snively. We got to put faith in McMichael, in Faravari, Fucali, Vitek Vanecek. The list goes on. But, we got to put these guys in a position to win and, just realize that we're not going to have Ovechkin forever. It's kind of a sad thing to think. I think that he'll be one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic Capitals ever. I don't think it's really debatable, is it? He's going to be the greatest scorer in goal history if he continues on the same trajectory. And he played for the Washington Capitals. Just let's enjoy this lineup. Let's enjoy watching them while we can, but let's look ahead. And that's what you have to do, is look ahead. You can't get caught up with what you're doing right now. Just kind of enjoy it, but keep your eye to the future. How are you sitting in your AHL affiliate and your ECHL affiliate? Do you have the next man up? Because it's proven all year that they've needed it. Protas and Leeson, all these guys. and that most of them have stepped up and played admirably. So I'm going to be positive looking forward to this because I think that the Capitals' future looks bright. And I think that if they keep using their head and not just giving up the farm just for, a couple rental players, I think they're going to do okay. All right, now make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Hosts Steele Rodden and Flip Livingstone help you become the expert of your fantasy league. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. All right, that is the Locked On Capitals podcast for today. We'll talk to you guys again Monday. It's been a great week. It's kind of been a stressful week. There's been a lot of things for me to learn. For the longest time, I just did a podcast on my phone. Got all these programs and cameras running. Just bear with me. I will get better. So if you're, watching this and going, hey, the other guy was way better. He was way smoother. You're probably right. He did a really great job. I enjoyed watching him for a long time. But thank you for listening this week and returning and watching. There's not any video because I'm having technical issues. So I am recording an audio podcast. I hope you guys do enjoy it. And I really look forward to talking to you again Monday. Between now and then, your Washington Capitals will take on the Kraken. Let's hope for another win, guys. Talk to you next time.